It's like when you read a book about the truth and you leave it on the table for 2 months. 2 months after you open it. And sometimes it's like reading a new book. You know.
You mentioned that some objects are designed to take you to the experience of awareness or being.
Yes, I use the expression by design. And by design, it's in contradistinction with by nature.
Unintentionally?
By nature.
Right.
Because ultimately all objects by nature point to the presence in which they appear.
Right.
Right? All objects point to the presence in which they appear. By nature, all of them. But some objects point more specifically. And they point then, I say, by design. It's a way to establish a distinction. For instance, an ugly painting points by nature to beauty. Why? Because it points to beauty by the absence of beauty. You see what I mean? You were expecting beauty. You go to the museum and you see a piece of shit on a white napkin. Right?
That is so true.
You see. So this piece of shit on a white napkin doesn't point to beauty by design, not in my book, It points to beauty because the beauty is missing. And it reminds you of that which is not there. But if you go to a museum and you see a beautiful Vermeer or a beautiful Cézanne or a beautiful Holbein or beautiful whatever, a Turner, then you go beyond the shape, beyond the colors. It takes you to the place from which the artistic inspiration came to the artist. The artist felt the emotion. I mean, by looking at the sunset or at the seascape and the sun, and there was an emotion in Turner. And what he paints really is not just the sun and the sea, but he paints his positive emotion of or a feeling that cannot be expressed through words. For instance, my teacher once said, there are feelings, for instance, apparently in Japanese, I'm not sure of that, but there are languages in which there is a word to describe the feeling we have when we see something for the last time that we won't see again. Like you see a ship leaving, and the ship is not going to return any longer to this harbor. It's going to be decommissioned somewhere. Or someone who has passed away and you love, and the casket is just passing by you. That's the last goodbye, farewell. You see, a kind of feeling of things that are not going to be there again, you see. So we call it nostalgia, but you see what I'm expressing. And sometimes you have a painting, or you have a music that expresses it. this sweet nostalgia that we live ourselves in the world, we say goodbye in the world of shapes and forms of Namarupa, and we know at the same time that we are not separate, that we remain together, in Sat Chit Ananda.
I'm sorry. I just
So you see this if the artist, a true work of art, for instance, the inspiration comes from the emotion is there, then the emotion is on the canvas or on the paper, and then the visitor in the museum or the onlooker, the beholder, then in this openness is taken to the same emotion, because in fact the beauty in the painting is God's signature. So you see the painting, and then the meaning of the painting is God's signature, and then it takes you to God. So the work of art is a trick God is using to take you. God has many tricks, this Indian poet, I think, is Thayu Manavar. Does this ring a bell? Thayu Manavar, he's a 16th century Indian poet. And he has a poem in which he says, the guru is like a bait. It's like a deer that the hunter sends to the herd. So then I guess a female deer, and then the deer follow the bait so that the hunter can kill. So the guru also is kind of sent from the hunter. And it's true of the words of truth. It's true also of the words of love and the action of love. And an act of love comes from that place, and as a result takes us to that place. So these are by design. An act of hate is not by design an act of love. It reminds us of love through the lack of it.
true. Now it's very clear, actually. I was getting a little bit confused. Right, okay. And so I was thinking that it should, like, love should be maybe the thing that I should follow. Like,
Yeah, you should try. We should endeavor professionally, if that's what you mean, to do something that we love doing. That's very simple, because for the artist, for instance, whatever the artist does is her child. You see, it's a form of the artist is pregnant with the work of art, and so there is this love for, and the love is in the production of, because the artist is kind of a translator. On one hand, one language is God's words that are invisible and silent. And then the artist translates that into some form. It can be sound, it can be a dance, it can be a work of art, it can be a performance, it doesn't matter. But the artist is a translator. And the true artist is transparent. It means that he or she tries to convey the meaning with as much clarity as possible, as much integrity as possible, as much truth as possible. If you think of let's say an actor who would say the words, say the lines, without understanding them. You know, how could he possibly convey the meaning? You know, let's say a very good actor, he doesn't speak English, right? But he has, because he's able to imitate the body language, the smile, the accent, and everything of a performance of Hamlet, right? By a great actor of the Royal Shakespeare Company. And this actor, he's such a good imitator that he can say the line almost like a perfect lookalike. This performance will be terrible. It would seem to be identical. It would lose, it would be the soul of it, the meaning would be lacking. A real actor, every night will give a different performance. But what is going to be common is that every night the meaning will be there. And if the work of art is rich, if it comes from the right place, there is an almost infinite nuances in the meaning. And every night a new nuance will be expressed. It's like when you read a book about the truth and you leave it on the table for 2 months. 2 months after you open it, and sometimes it's like reading a new book. You know.
Yes. You just answered a question I didn't even know I had, and your answers are just so beautiful always, Francis. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.